Hi guys, welcome to episode 2 of MindsetBros Unfiltered. You might notice something slightly different. We've got a guest with us this week and I'll be throwing to him in just a moment. But before I do, we just want to thank you for last week. Ross and I have been overwhelmed by the feedback that we've had. Comments, messages, people in shops just coming up to us and saying they saw it. So thank you so much for that. We just checked. How many subscribers have we got to the channel now?
We have just hit 100 subscribers.
100 subscribers. We're very proud of that. And about 850 views, wasn't it, as well?
Yep, just under, but we'll take it.
Incredible. So the other 750 of you, what are you doing? Please subscribe. But yeah, this is episode 2. And I did want to just touch on something that we talked about last week, Ross, if that's okay with you. And then we'll throw to our guest and introduce him. So we talked at depth about your father and the situation you had growing up. And something I wondered, and something we did talk about off air a little bit, was because he's no longer with us, right?
Correct.
So he passed when you were 26?
Yeah,
years old?
2012.
2012.
Yep.
If Mindset Bros was around when you were young, do you think he would have accessed it? And if he did, do you think he would have helped him? Do you think it would have changed your life or your upbringing?
It's a difficult one to answer, really. I think knowing him as I did, and him not necessarily being that empathetic, I think he probably would have laughed at it.
Yeah,
if I'm honest. I would like to think, 13, 14 years have passed. I'm a different person. We all change, we all learn, we all grow. So I think I would have been a different person. I was a different person then to what I am now. But I would have liked to have thought that I would have been able to talk to him in a different way now compared to what I had done. Obviously I would have been, a lot less mature then, I would hope to say, in comparison to now. I've learned a lot over the last, 10 years. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would like to, my nice vision in my head would like to think that he would have benefited from it or seen some positivity in it. But the other part of me then thinks that he would have been a bit blasé.
Yeah. Okay. I just thought that was an interesting follow-up to last week, and we're always going to come back to that episode because it was so important for us as a podcast to have that with you. And I appreciate you being on with us and sharing your story so openly.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate that.
And moving on to someone else who's going to share a story openly. To my right, I have Mr. Jake Oley with us.
Evening.
Hi, Jake. Listen, really appreciate you coming on. You're a good friend of Ross's, and you've been coming along on a lot of the walks and to all the events. So great to have you on. Really, this is an open forum. You can pretty much talk about whatever you want. Ross has said to me that he's very passionate about your story and he wants to hear it and he wants the world to hear it. So from the top, take as long as you want. Tell us your story.
Well, basically, 14 years ago, I'd done something very stupid, burnt a very important relationship with my dad, and nearly, obviously, went to prison. Nearly, I didn't actually go to prison, but yeah, and the struggles have just started from there, really. From the age of 18, 19, mum and dad have split up. Dad met someone else. Things were said and done, and I retaliated the wrong way, and been paying the consequence ever since.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So 14 years ago, how old would that would have made you back then?
About 19, I think. Yeah.
So as Ross said earlier, you change a lot in 14 years. Like your whole life changes, your whole outlook changes. So at that time, at 19, what kind of feelings did you have? What kind of things happened? If you want to delve into that more.
I was just angry all the time. I was just going out drinking, fighting. It was like no life. Really. Looking back at it now, and I sit there and I think, Jake, you was an idiot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could have done so much more with my life then. Like now, obviously, I'm trying to build a business now, but I could have done that when I was 19 if I was in the right frame of mind. But I think with everything that's going on now, I don't think I was in the right frame of mind to be doing something like that.
Yeah, interesting. And at 19, I mean, is anyone really in the right frame of mind? I don't think you can blame yourself for that. As young people, we're still trying to find our way, right?
Yeah.
People ask us what we want to do for the rest of our lives, and we have no idea at 19.
I do.
You wanted to do at 19?
I thought I knew what I wanted to do.
What did you want to do?
You know, I mean, I always grew up wanting to be, a carpenter.
Okay.
Always wanted to follow in my granddad's. You know, that's on my mum's side. My granddad's footsteps, and he was a very talented carpenter, and I've always loved woodwork, still do now. But I didn't listen enough. You know, and I didn't listen enough, and because I couldn't walk straight into the course that I wanted to go in, you know, my life then took a different path. You know, and don't be wrong, I wouldn't change it now. I mean,
Sure.
I thoroughly enjoy doing what I do. You know, been in property for 20 years. Still get the buzz for it every day. But that was what I thought I wanted to do at 19. So we all changed, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And funny enough, if we can maybe make a triangle out of us three, not in that way. You wanted to be a carpenter. You're a builder.
Yeah.
I wanted to be an estate agent when I was 19, and you're an estate agent. So it's funny. Did you want to be a podcast host?
No,
That completely triangle. So annoying.
It's all going so well.
Yeah. That's the triangle broken, but that's okay. This isn't my main job, obviously, but I love doing it. But so tell me about your dad then. Where's he now? What's
so
the situation?
I don't know where. I know where he is, like, living on the island, but don't know the exact property as such. But yeah, he's a self-employed builder.
Okay.
So he's around the island, you know, working. I see him every now and again out and about. I have approached him a few times, but all I just get is like, you know, fuck off, you're dead to me. You know, it's my fault the way his life is, when it actually wasn't. It was me to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I accept that, and I've done my consequence. You know, I paid for it. So to me, like, 14 years is a long time. You know,
Long time.
and do you know what? My stepdad also is absolutely amazing. Like, he's been in my life for 13 years, 14 years, something like that, 13 years. And he's supported me through everything. But it sounds really harsh, but he's not my dad.
Sure.
You know, I just want that phone call. Oh, Dad, do you want to go for a coffee? Do you want to go for a pint? Do you know what I mean? I don't want nothing from him.
No.
I just want that little bit of a connection back where I can just ring up for a general chit chat. You know, I've had a bad day or whatever, but you know, I've got my mum, I've got my stepdad, but I still do struggle.
You feel like you're missing that certain relationship, and he's so close, he's right there, right?
Yeah.
So do you think that he sees it as irreparable, that it will never repair, or do you think time will heal it even more, or not?
Well, from the last time I spoke to him, which was, I think it was last year, I saw him in Newport High Street. And yeah, it seemed irreparable from then. But, you know, my younger brother, it works alongside him. Okay. So it's like taking over sort of thing. And, you know, he does ask every now and again, and they do talk about me, but I don't think it's enough for him to ring me up and go, do you want to go for a coffee?
Yeah.
Do you want to go for a beer? So it's difficult.
Yeah, I bet it is. And like, if he was the other side of the world or the other side of the country, even just across the water, you might find the closure of the distance a bit better for you. What I was gonna throw to you, actually. Also, have you got a follow-up question?
Yeah, I think my only statement would be on it as well is that, I mean, obviously I've worked with Jake very, very closely on this, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. But I think it's always very difficult. You've got to look at both sides of the coin, because as much as, you know, Jake wants that relationship and Jake struggles that he hasn't got that relationship, I've had conversations with Jake and said to Jake, you know, being the age demographic that Jake's dad is, he might also be struggling with how to make that first step forward. And as much as it looks like, you know, it's a relationship that will always be broken, he might actually be sitting there kind of thinking to himself, well, I really would like to try and do something about it, but I don't know how. And I've said to Jake, you know, and I'm not trying to give, you know, Jake's hopes up in any way, shape or form, and we've done some stuff to try and help. But the difficult thing is, like, you got to give him time. And 14 years is a long time, and it is a long time for both sides. It's not one-sided, it's two-sided. But he might be sitting there, and the fact that he is asking Jake's brother after Jake, you know, I think so. And I mean, you know, don't be wrong, I could be, you know, trying to catch on to something there that doesn't exist. But for me, if someone didn't mean anything to you, or they were dead to you, then why would you even bother asking after
that's true.
full stop? But
and you mentioned time. I mean, time between the first step and where you want to be might be 10 years as well. Yeah. So first step might be that you reach out and he replies. That might still take 10 years before you get the kind of relationship you want.
Like 10 years, from what happened 10 years on, I messaged him every year, happy birthday, Dad, happy Father's Day, happy Christmas, all of it. And it just got nothing back. But I felt if I gave up, then maybe there's going to be no hope.
Yeah.
So
carry on trying, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
But then I did get to a point and I've stopped doing it, I have stopped messaging happy birthday, happy Christmas, Father's Day and all that, because I just feel like nothing's being given back or reciprocated.
It's difficult because, I mean, Jake won't mind me mentioning, but we've stepped in as MindsetBros, and obviously we've been working with Jake for 7-8 months now. From the person that he turned up, initially as to now is, again, we'll touch more upon that in a minute, is for me incredible. But I suggested to Jake about writing a letter to his dad, and Jake was up for that, and he said, it'd be amazing. So I got Jake to put down kind of a list of things that he wanted to kind of get across or talk about or express, emotionally, but I would rewrite it for him basically. So anyway, I rewrote it, and anyway, I then made the mistake of reading it. I know it sounds daft, but when you're writing something, you don't necessarily kind of read it as you're writing it, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so I wrote it to make sure that obviously I kind of was happy with the flow of it and so on and so forth. Cried like a baby, like absolutely cried like a baby.
Me too.
And then sent it over to Jake and was like, please feel free to change anything that you don't like or whatever. And I shared with him. I said to him, I've got to be honest with you. I said, this has really made me emotional. And I think the reason why I've found such a connection with Jake and Jake's circumstances, and well, not all of Jake's circumstances, but some of Jake's circumstances, is that obviously, although I had a really terrible relationship with my old man before he passed away, he passed away in 2012, 14 years ago. So I've not had a relationship with him, for longer than 14 years. It's actually been about 17. So we didn't really talk for the last 3 years before he passed away. But it was just like it was almost like I was writing a letter
to your dad,
to my dad, with a lot of similarities as to what Jake was saying to his dad that I would have said to mine, given the opportunity, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was a real hard letter to write. I mean, don't be wrong, I was incredibly privileged to write it, for Jake, but and I'm glad I did, but it was, I didn't realise how difficult it was going to be until I'd written it, and
it opened up a big box of emotions, didn't 100% both of us,
it was quite bad. I reckon it probably rocked me for about 2 or 3 days.
Wow.
Like genuinely.
Wow.
Yeah, and I wasn't expecting that. When I started writing it, I didn't genuinely feel kind of any emotion at all. It was just a case of, right, Jake's written this, I just need to reword it.
You had a job to do.
Yeah. It was 100%. It was a task. Not a task as in like something I didn't want to do. I offered to do it, but I didn't have any emotion writing it.
Yeah.
But then equally, I read it and I was like, whew.
It's funny you say that, because we spoke earlier in the week, or maybe just after the episode 1 came out, and you sat here for an hour basically and talked about your life and didn't get emotional at all.
No.
And then you watched the episode back and cried.
Cried like a baby.
He cried like a baby.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Well, me and Chelsea done it. Blake, he sent through the first podcast, and I think he sent it to me on the Thursday, I think it was, or the Wednesday, and obviously we were launching it on the Sunday.
Yeah.
And he was like, obviously before we go any further with this, I just want you to make sure that you're happy, that the stuff that you've spoken about is going to go out into the public domain, if that makes sense. And I was like,
didn't share that with me, Blake.
I was just like, well, obviously, there was some personal stuff in there, and I was like, look, I wouldn't have said it if I wasn't comfortable with it. Anyway, so he sent it over, and absolute dickhead sent it over at 10:30 at night. Well, obviously, you can't go to sleep without watching it, can you? It's 45 minutes long, and I'm like, that's that early night gone out. So we laid in bed, Chelsea and I laid in bed, and she was like, really excited to watch it with you. 6-7 minutes in, started getting upset. Didn't know, I did know why, but I would, a bit like what you just said, I was really surprised that it didn't make me emotional talking about it, and I don't feel emotional talking about it now.
No,
because I think I've shared it shared the story so many times, obviously over the last 2 years, when people say to me, what's your background? Where has this started? Yeah, and I think I've done that so many times now that actually I feel quite comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that the more you do talk, the more you will become comfortable, in my opinion. You know, and I think I've benefited from that.
It's almost like you're learning a story, and the more times you say it, the better you'll get at telling it.
Yeah,
and the better you'll feel about telling it as well to other people. We're going to take a break in a minute, but before we do, Jake, just a quick question. I'll just bang the table. Don't bang the table on the podcast, guys. Before we do, is there anything else that made you access MindsetBros? Because after the break, we're going to talk about the access you've had to us and what help you've had. And is there anything else in your life that sort of made you think, I need to access something, I need to know?
My partner reached out
on your behalf,
on my behalf, because if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't be here.
Interesting. So thank you so much to her, and we'll talk about the help that MindsetBros has given you after this quick break. But we're going to hear from our show sponsor, which is PC Consultants.
A big thank you to our episode 2 sponsor, B Oakley Builders, covering all aspects of building works across the Isle of Wight.
Guys, welcome back to MindsetBros Unfiltered. We're on episode 2. I'm joined by Ross Taylor again, my co-host, and I've also got Jake with us as well. So Jake, we were talking about your story before, the story of your dad, and what led you to MindsetBros, which was your partner reaching out. What kind of support have you accessed? How did you access it? How have you found it? Let's start with that.
Support-wise, I've done many therapies over the years.
Yep.
I've done the cognitive behaviour therapy. I've done the NHS therapy. And for me personally, I took something from the cognitive behaviour therapy, like the morning gratitude,
nice,
etc. Trying to be a bit more active. But the NHS one, it's a tick box for me. It felt like a tick box. It was like, on a scale of 1 to 10. Like, that does not help when you're struggling. And running up to me starting MindsetBros, I was going through a little bit with my eldest son. And that was just like, that just tipped me over the edge. So, I actually ended up on Braden Downs, ready to drive off.
And how long ago was that?
8 months, just a bit more than 8 months ago, because I started MindsetBros probably
August, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and I say early August, I think.
Yeah, and this was like the end of July. So I actually went to my first event at Building 41.
Yeah.
Which I met Ross and the other directors there.
And you knew Blake?
I knew Blake, which made me feel a bit more comfortable and less anxious, because I knew someone, you know. But yeah, it was amazing. And then, you know, a week later, I started doing my walk and talks out Freshwater. 6 a.m. crew. So, and I've never looked back.
It's amazing. And 6 a.m, the Freshwater one is Tuesday mornings, right, in Freshwater.
Yeah.
Whereabouts do you meet? How long do you go for?
So
I know the answer already. But...
Yeah. So that causeway out Freshwater, 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Walk around, like, it's an hour walks, 7 a.m. finish, and we do just talk absolute bollocks. Like, it's brilliant.
Constructive bollocks, though.
Yeah, it is, yeah. It's absolutely brilliant, like, because you forget what's going on in your head.
Yeah.
And forget the real world, and it's just you and, you know, a few others in your own little bubble. And if you want to talk about how you're feeling, then
you absolutely
it's up to you. There's no pressure
that
you've got to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah.
That's exactly what the aim was, wasn't it, really?
It's everything that I wanted it to be. And again, going back to when you come on board and start doing a walk and talk as well, I think you and I have got very, very similar mentalities when it comes to, you know, not wanting it to be something that it's not, if you know what I mean. And as I said before in episode 1, there's nothing wrong with, you know, therapy sessions and sitting around in a circle and that type of thing. There's a place for it, but it's not what I wanted this to be.
No.
You know, and it doesn't matter how many people go out on a walk and talk, whether it's 2 or whether it's 10. You know, there's no pressure for anybody to go, oh, I'm coming because I've got a problem. I mean, you'll be asked whether you want to talk. You know, as in like, you know, is everything okay? Do you want to talk about anything? That question will be asked. But if you don't want to say anything, you don't say anything.
Absolutely.
It's as simple as that.
And do you find, Jake, that you sort of how many people go on a Tuesday morning normally?
It's about 4.
Yeah, 4 or 5
guys.
Yeah.
Do you kind of pair off into pairs occasionally, and
Some
you do get that sort of one-to-one time where you can actually just talk to someone if you feel like it?
Yeah,
build up a bit of trust over time.
yeah, definitely.
How long then between being on the Downs and your first Mindset Bros event? What's that sort of time frame? About a month, do you think?
It was about 2 or 3 weeks, I think. Yeah. My partner was like, you know, go, and I was like, oh, you know, what? I don't know what to. I don't know what I was going to expect.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know what I was going into. It's the unknown.
What did you walk into, in your opinion, when you opened that door and walked in, or were there people in the doorway already?
There are a few people outside. Blake was outside. Ross was outside.
Brilliant.
And I believe they were doing their push-up challenge at that time. So
notice I wasn't there.
Yeah. So yeah, and there was just like, you know, obviously Blake was like, oh, all right, mate. Ross was like, I'm Ross, you know, introduced himself and went in, got coffee or tea or whatever it was. Yeah, and then everyone started turning up, and you just end up mingling without even know that you're mingling and talking to other people. And I just never looked back really,
Brilliant,
because it helps me so much. And before I started doing Mindset, I was angry. I was angry with everyone and everything, the world. Like why is it happening to me?
Yeah.
You know, why can't it just happen to someone else? You know what I mean? Like, what have I done wrong to get this? But then I look back and I've done some horrible things. Not like majorly horrible, but it's, you know, it's not a good thing that
You've got regrets.
Yeah, I've got regrets that, you know. So in a way, I think, I deserve what I'm getting. But now I've obviously made myself a better person and a calmer person over these last 8 months, thanks to like Ross and the whole team, really. Like the monthly events, you know, you meet people in the monthly events that are going through some real struggles, and you get talking to them and you think, do you know what I'm going through is nothing.
And we actually said this last week on the episode. I know you watched it. You think that about their problems. They probably think that about your problems.
Yeah.
And it's this match of like, yeah, it's not as bad as I think it is, and he thinks the same thing, and now you both feel a bit better from Robin.
Yeah, makes a massive difference.
So you access the monthly meetups and the weekly walk and talks. Did you have any calls with Ross as well on the phone, or any one-to-ones or anything?
We just messaged each other, didn't we?
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We didn't have any
very
dates as such.
Good, yeah. Not that early on.
So
yeah, been a few dates since.
Yeah, there's one this week actually. Wasn't
There is.
Yeah, I was roped into that as well. But yeah, 10 of us on a candlelit dinner that day. But yeah, no, it's brilliant to hear that story, Jake, and thank you so much for sharing it. What someone said to me, and I think it was Steve, our good friend Steve, who comes on our walks. He said that Mindset Bros events are basically like walking into a pub, but everyone's lovely. Yeah. And everyone just wants to talk to you. And he found that from the get-go. It was from his first event as well. So yeah, that's really brilliant. That event was at Building 41 in Cowes. What food was on that night? Was that the one I missed?
East Street, wasn't it?
Unreal.
Oh, mate, like I died and went to heaven. Like, it was amazing.
I mean, imagine turning up to an event that you're really nervous about going to, meeting some really nice people, and then having some gourmet food.
I think I had like 2 or 3 rounds, to be honest.
It was just nuts.
I filled my face right up.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, mate.
I couldn't come.
Yeah.
I can tell you now, it was really nice.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
Hey, not that you're not partial to a bit of food, mate.
My good friend Pete, who's in the corner, messaged me and said, "This is the best burger I've ever had." I might have a second one, and he did.
Yeah. Had your one.
And mine, yeah. So I've missed a few events, but that is one I'm particularly gutted about. So the food, as we mentioned last week, is just free.
Absolutely.
Nobody has to come along and put a couple of quid in or $5 in or anything.
Not at all.
You just show up. We'll feed you, or we as in Mindset Bros will feed you some food and just have a good time, basically, with blokes.
Yeah, a community, a community feel is, like you said, like Steve said, walking into a pub for the people that actually want to talk to you, rather than going into a pub and knowing to feel isolated, which again a lot of people do. But yeah, that's what we wanted to create. That was exactly what we set out to create. Is exactly that. So that people have got a space to come to, and the more events you come to, the more events you get involved in, you're going to meet more people. And we're already starting to see, like little micro communities coming from the bigger community.
100%.
You know, so I can think of 3 or 4 smaller groups that meet up and go for a curry, or meet up and go and have a game of pool, but they've all met through MindsetBros.
It's amazing.
You know,
Absolutely,
and that's how it should be.
It's really tackling that loneliness element as well, isn't it? And Pete's been around mine for a barbie, haven't you? I'll be having another one this summer. Don't worry.
Excellent.
You can cook this time. But yeah, like,
do we make the guest list or not?
Pete's come round, so that's good.
Excellent.
Can't have everyone round.
There's only enough burgers for Baz and Lee.
Don't Harkin. That's the main.
Oh,
thing.
okay.
Yeah, we'll have to sort that out.
Well, I'll get a bus.
I know someone who might lay a driveway for me. Though.
Yeah.
He actually did my last one.
Do you know anyone?
Yeah. But yeah, look, I really, really appreciate you sharing that story, Jake. It's absolutely brilliant, and it's great to see you in such a good place right now. 8 months-ish, or 7 months-ish since you started coming along, and then you started coming along on Walk and Talks. But you now, on a Monday morning, do something else, don't you?
Yeah. So me and Blake host our own Walk and Talk from Sandown Pier to Shanklin and back at 6 a.m. on a Monday morning. So I do 2 6 a.m.s in a row.
Oh.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'd love it. But we had a good turnout on our first one. There was 7 of us. Incredible one. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It was quite emotional, to be fair.
I bet.
And then the second one, I think there was like 3 of us. And then the one just gone off.
Back up to 6, wasn't it?
Back at, about 5 or 6.
It's incredible.
Yeah. So, and even one of the blokes that come on the freshwater one turned up on the Monday as well.
Yeah, good.
It was just like amazing. He comes all the way from Chale.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you say that. I mean,
All the way.
you live in Sandown, right?
Yeah, I live in.
So you go all the way to Freshwater every
Yeah.
Tuesday and back at 6 a.m.
I remember
always
Blake,
6 a.m.
when Blake, Blake and Jake, when they both said to me about, should we do another Walk and Talk? Should we launch another Walk and Talk? And I know, yes, was the answer straight away. The eventual goal would obviously to be able to offer a Walk and Talk 7 days a week. That would be incredible. That's one of the goals that the team and I've got. And when Jake said, I want to do it on a Monday morning, I thought, oh, fuck's sake, he's not going to come on a Tuesday anymore now. And honestly, I actually genuinely felt gutted.
I thought he was going to cry.
Honestly, I'm emotional with the best of times, but I genuinely thought, oh, who the fuck's going to want to get up at Monday at 6 o'clock?
Yeah.
And that's close to his house. I mean, it's really convenient.
Yeah.
And then want to get up on a Tuesday morning at 5 to then drive over to Freshwater to get there at 6. So I remember messaging him, and I was like, so does this mean that you're going to be ditching me now then, mate, as you're doing your own Walk and Talk now? And he's like, fuck no, I wouldn't miss my Tuesday morning Walk and Talk for the world. I was like, thank God for that.
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, I get up about 5:15 for the Monday Walk and Talk in Sandown. And then I get up at just before 5 on a Tuesday.
Wow.
To get to Freshwater.
It's commitment. Like, I don't think you've missed one, have you?
No, I've not missed one. Or a monthly event. I've done a couple of charity events as well with you, which have been amazing.
I think that's one of the big things for me. I mean, we're not just watching, obviously being a part of your journey over the last 7-8 months. I think you've got what you've got from it because you have absolutely just thrown yourself at everything. And I mean everything. I mean, I know like not every single Walk and Talk, but you've stayed committed to a Tuesday morning Walk and Talk. Like, consistency is ridiculous. You've then obviously decided that you want to do your own Walk and Talk, and again, you've launched that with Blake at the same time as obviously still maintaining, the Tuesday Walk and Talk. Yeah. You don't miss a monthly event, as you say, charity events, whether they are put on by MindsetBros or whether they've been put on by somebody else. You're involved. Let me look at the other night, for example. Monday night, we had an event on at 6 o'clock, which originally, obviously, you weren't going to be attending. Opportunity presented itself at 5 p.m. when the event started at 6 o'clock, opposite side of the Isle of Wight. And I thought, I'm going to phone him and see whether he wants to come. And I made that phone call at 5:05. I was like, do you fancy it? He's like, I'm on my way. Like literally, like no hesitation whatsoever. He did go to Tesco's, get himself a shirt for a 12-year-old and didn't fit very well, and then decided to put a pair of trousers on and realised he'd put on a bit of timber since he last tried them on.
Blimey.
And he had a wonderful time.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I literally left ride at like 5:10, went home, got changed, and I was at East Afton Farm at 6:15.
Wow.
Done well.
And I turned up in my work van with an old kitchen on the back.
Oh, we saw that on the way out.
To East Afton.
Yeah.
As we drove out, Pete said, I think that's Jake's van.
Yeah, I was like, I've got no time to go and get my car. I need to get out of there now.
But did you have a good time?
I had a brilliant time. It was fantastic.
That's all that matters.
And I knew people out there as well, which I was really shocked about. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was brilliant.
Well, it's good to have you at the table, mate. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Really good.
Great opportunity.
Yeah, amazing. Listen, guys, thank you so much. We're going to take another little break and we'll be back just after this.
PC Consultants, the hugely successful Isle of Wight IT company, announces with great sadness the loss of Sean Coulson, their chairman and one of the company's original two founders, who alongside Mike Parsons gave the PC to PC Consultants. Sean had been the driving force in the success of the company since it was founded over 30 years ago and instilled an ethos of providing opportunity for people irrespective of background and academic achievement, reflected in the company receiving the King's Award for Enterprise in 2025 at Osborne House, which Sean attended. Sean will be remembered not only for the success of the company he founded, but for the many charities, good causes and individuals that he has supported as a friend and a sponsor, including MindsetBros from the very beginning. A huge shock to everyone who knew him, and he will be sadly missed.
All right, so as we start to wind down here, we've got a few other little questions for you, Jake. So the first one really is about your mindset and how you've sort of flick switches or pulled levers in your head that have sort of made you change your mindset. Is there something you've changed about the way you approach things now that's helped you?
Yeah, I actually think about my actions and the consequences before going in to do it. You know, I just sit back and think, do I need to be doing this? Do I need to be saying this? Is there a better approach to what I'm doing? I try and do that 99% of the time, but obviously you're not always going to be 100% in doing that. There's always going to be that one little thing that triggers you and you're just going to blow.
Yeah.
But it happens less and less and less as time goes on.
I think one of the things I've noticed about you, certainly from walk and talks as well, is I would say there's been a couple of scenarios where things have been said by somebody, if that makes sense, and then you've kind of addressed the not the problem, but you've addressed it. You've answered it before I've even had a chance to answer it. Whereas, like, I would normally answer if someone says something and wants some support, if that makes sense. But that difference in you in the 7-8 months is nuts, because when we first started walking, firstly, you were obviously quite quiet when we first started walking. Then I'd say after maybe 3, maybe 4 weeks, I think you started kind of opening up a little bit slowly, which is, what was to be expected. But to see you now, kind of 7 or 8 months down the line, and you can see that you're thinking about a good response back to, what's being said. And that's incredible to watch from my perspective, because I think to myself, and I do look back, when you first started walking and talking, and I thought to myself, when you first turned up, it was very, very obvious that, the weight of the world that you had on your shoulders was, I could feel it.
Yeah, it was pushing me right down.
Yeah, I could feel it. And, there was obviously lots of negative conversations. There was lots of negativity. You could see it kind of, radiating out of you. And to see you not suppress, but get rid of or deal with those, things that have been demons for you as time has gone on, is just a really, really magical thing to watch from my perspective.
Definitely. It's hard because you don't know how to release the emotion, like the rage, the anger, where can you release it?
I get it.
When you're busy 5 days a week working, 8 till 5 or whatever.
And it can be the smallest little things that can trigger people. I spoke to someone the other day who I wouldn't say is an angry person at all. In fact, I'd say that they're quite calm. But they phoned me and they were like, Ross, you said I've fucked up. And I was like, well, yeah, okay, you're going to have to expand a little bit. What have you done? And I was expecting it to be something really bad by the tone that it was said in, if you know what I mean. And they've basically said, I've had some road rage. I've got out of the car, completely lost it, completely saw red, and I've smacked a wing mirror off. And don't be wrong, absolutely not acceptable. And we obviously spoke about the potential repercussions. We spoke about how you could deal with that in a positive way rather than letting the negative come to you. You could maybe put yourself forward and be like, you know what, I need to find this person and I need to apologise before they come kind of like knocking on the door. But that person that phoned me to say that, I would absolutely not expect to say that they were an aggressive person or one to blow their lid in any way, shape, or form. But it just so happened that that day was the wrong time and the wrong place for that person to cut him up.
Yeah,
because he was feeling it anyway, and was being pushed to his limits through other bits and pieces in his life, but felt like he was managing it. But then all of a sudden, that one thing just tipped him over the edge.
Comes crashing down.
Yeah, and that happens, and that happens to us all.
And like now, so I do snap. I snap at my partner, I snap at my kids. It happens.
Normal. Yes.
Yeah. But now I sit back and think, what's going on in that person's head?
Mm-hmm.
How are they actually feeling today? They might be going through a really bad time, but they're laughing and joking, and you don't know. You could say one thing to someone, and that'll be it that drops a fall in a ball of tears.
Well, and also, it's the facade that people have, isn't it?
Yeah.
People can be laughing and joking. People can be, look happy on the outside, but on the inside, they're miserable and, quite often, sometimes contemplating life.
That was pretty much me.
Yeah.
And I read a stat the other day that 40% of people on this island have once considered suicide. 40%.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the first time for me.
Yeah.
Personally, I tried it when I was 15,
right,
as well. Because I was a little shit in school and felt like the teachers, my parents, they had enough. Do you know what I mean? So when you feel that, you feel like you're better off not here, and then it's a lesser problem for them to deal with. And you just try and make it easy for them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So it's a mindset that I think people have, but in reality, the last thing they'd ever want is to lose you.
Oh God.
And you don't see that though.
No.
And I've been in that situation. I mean, as we spoke about as I spoke about, should I say, on episode 1, I was told from the age of 10 by my old man that, I wasn't wanted. And my old man's thing used to be that, if he shouted, you were safe, right? If he ever shouted at you, you were safe. If he whispered or spoke in a really, really low tone, you wanted to be at least arm's length away from him, because otherwise you're going to get annoyed him. And I'm 40, and I still don't like it now when people speak really, really quietly.
Yeah.
Or if someone whispers, like my kids. I know it sounds ridiculous, but we got this little thing where my kids want to whisper in my ear, and I find it really, really difficult. And they'll come up to me, Dad, I just want to tell you something. They want to tell me that they love me, or they want to tell me that something stupid. But the fact that they want to whisper in my ear, I can't handle it. Really struggle with it. But it's those types of things that stick with you for a long, long time, and they are the mental scars that people can't necessarily see. So going back to what you were saying, people can look great from the outside, and I do have to laugh and joke around with it sometimes when the kids want to do it, because I'm like, well, I don't want to stop them doing it because they think it's funny. Do you know what I mean? But for me, it's not funny.
No.
So we do have other questions for you. The next question we were going to ask is, you've come a long way in the last sort of 6 months, since 14 years ago when it all sort of came to a head. What would you say to your 19-year-old self now? If you could go back in time and speak to young 19-year-old Jake, is there something that you would say to him that you think might make a difference back then?
It's quite difficult actually, because I used to get given advice left, right, and centre as a 19-year-old, but especially from my mum.
Yeah,
my mum's like words of wisdom all the time.
Yeah.
But I just chose to ignore it. So it depends. I don't know. It's hard, because if I was 19 years old now, I would be like, stay as you are, nice and steady. Think about what you're doing. Where you want to be in life. Do a plan of what you want, and etc. But if I was talking to myself 14 years ago, I wouldn't listen.
You wouldn't have listened anyway.
I wouldn't have acknowledged any advice or words of wisdom, and I was just a massive wrecking ball.
So it's more about what you would say to a 33-year-old now, and the grateful you are often 19 plus 14. I've definitely got 33.
I was on the border.
We got
turning
Being far too picky, Baz.
I'll let you off. So 34 now. You're still young. You're still so young. There's still so much life
In comparison to you.
We talked. Yeah. There it goes again. Someone put a coin in, Ross, about me being older. You and I are 5 years apart-ish, and we talked on a walk and talk once about how when I was your age, I was really struggling from a few things, and I've built things from then financially, mostly. That if you start at a young age and you are young, habits, whatever, become a massive thing for you and a big positive, essentially.
100%.
You've still got loads of time to sort that out.
Yeah, this is it. So I'm having some amazing opportunities at the moment from other people, and things are looking really, really good for me right now. And it's the place where I want to be, and all I can do now is grow, for not just for me, but for my family, for my kids. What I'm trying to build now is, for them.
Yeah,
I think a lot of that's come from the difference in your difference in the positivity in your mindset, though. As we touched upon earlier on, I mean, if you turn back 7-8 months ago when you first turned up to those walk and talks, you wouldn't be talking like you talk now.
No.
And that's the big difference that I've seen. Well, I've seen many differences in you because obviously we've become quite close. But, when you, like listening to you talk now, like you left me a voice note the other day and you were just ecstatic about an opportunity that had been presented to you. And I just think to myself, like, who on earth would have suggested that you would have done that 6 months ago?
I wouldn't.
Like, you just wouldn't.
No, because I got comfortable.
Yeah. And that's, you got comfortable, but also you were stuck in a bit of a, I think you were stuck in a bit of a rut. I don't think you necessarily valued your self-worth.
No.
Because you'd convinced yourself that, like you said earlier on, you didn't want to be here because it would be a better world without you in it, if that makes sense, which is completely the opposite end of the spectrum. But you'd allowed yourself to kind of be suppressed, by other people around you, not necessarily just yourself. And as I say, you fast forward 6-7 months down the line, new job on the horizon, business on the horizon. But the way that you talk now and the way that you conduct yourself, like, I'm so proud of you, mate, for the journey that you've come on in the last 7 or 8 months.
You're gonna make me cry.
I couldn't be prouder of you because I have worked very, very closely with you. And it's, like I was talking about the young lad, on episode 1, for me, I didn't spend that much time with him, if that makes sense, although it was a really amazing experience, as I mentioned. But having got to know you and got to know your family, and, everyone from your mum to your brother to your partner to your kids to your stepdad, I don't think there's anyone I don't know now, which is quite mad when you think about it in a 6-7 month period. But, you've got incredible foundations around you that I now think that you see a lot clearer as well. I'm obviously, I've met your mum, and obviously met, your stepdad as well. Again, both really, really influential people in your life.
100%.
But again, kids, amazing kids, and all. If
anybody wants to buy my kids, right,
are they for sale?
Yeah, giving them away. I'll give you 2 camels. Well, Chelsea just got back from Egypt. She had a couple in a suitcase, so I thought, why not? But for me, it's an amazing thing being, a part of your journey, but also seeing the people that you have around you and how the positive changes that you have made. Because as much as, yes, I may have helped, we may have helped as MindsetBros, you've got to take that change yourself as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not willing to help yourself,
then
no one can help you. I mean, like when I was set up at Braden Downs, like my kids weren't enough for me to stay. My partner, I felt like there was nothing. And now it's just like everything's turned round. Like, I'm here, like my kids are for the reason what I'm doing now, my family. So it's amazing how things have changed in a short amount of time.
Yeah. And it's all mindset. It's all mindset. And it's, I'm not going to repeat myself again, but it's just, it's a privilege to be part of the journey that you've been on. It really is.
It's incredible, and we appreciate you being on here and being so open. While we've still got a little bit of time, Ross, I'll go last because I'm the oldest. But what would you tell your 19 or 18-year-old self if you could go back in time now?
Crikey.
And would he listen?
I think I would listen. I don't think I was a bad listener at that age. I wish if I could go back and have a chat with my 18-year-old self, I would have said, work harder at not necessarily education, but focus more on what you want to actually do rather than just expecting it to happen. Because I thought, coming out of school, I was, maths was always my favourite subject. I loved maths, I loved cooking, and I loved, woodwork. They were my three, real passionate things. And I came out of school, having done well in those three subjects, and science was okay and stuff like that. And I just assumed that the natural course would be that I would be, starting college, walking into a 2-year, 3-year course, it'd all be paid for, and away I went. And then all of a sudden, oh, by the way, you haven't done that well with your English, so you're going to need to resit that if you want to do it. And also would like this to be a little bit higher as well, so you need to resit that. And I don't know, I wouldn't say I gave up, but I just looked at it and thought, well, I'm not willing to go back through these things, so maybe I don't want it enough, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I then, I've always had a passion for earning money as well, because at the end of the day, if you want nice things in life, you've got to earn some money.
Oh, he was good at maths, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, numbers, absolutely. So I just thought, I'm going to throw myself into work. So I threw myself into work, and then, unfortunately, I've found a career that has been a 20-year career, but as I said earlier on, I wouldn't change it because I genuinely love what I do.
Love.
But I now just, have a passion for making things out of wood. On the side, I've built all sorts of stuff for the house and
nice,
stuff like that. But that's what I would say to myself is maybe just focus more on what you actually want.
Love that. Thanks for asking. Mine is I think mine is that apart from like this podcast episode, nothing lasts forever. I think that's probably my thing. The good times, and I've had amazing times and amazing periods in my life, they don't last forever. But neither do the bad times. Just because something feels rough in the moment and it feels like there's no way out of it, there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely.
There is, because nothing.
I think it was Tom Hanks that said it, wasn't it? This too shall pass.
Yeah, this too shall pass. Yeah, exactly. In fact, the first time I saw that really helped me. He was sat in a round table, similar to us. Yeah, 3 celebs.
2.5.
2.5. Yeah, thanks for that. He said it with like Jim Carrey or whoever else.
Oh, serious table, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Serious.
And he said, "This too shall pass." I think that's what I'd say to my 18, 19-year-old self, because I was bullied at school.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Shouldn't have done it. But it wasn't easy for me, and at that time in my life, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an estate agent, but it didn't happen for me. But I would have just said, it doesn't, like, nothing lasts forever. It doesn't matter, like, that was bad. Now this is going to be good, etc. We've got one more question and then one more thing to talk about, Jake. So, your opportunity really to show gratitude, which you talked about a little bit earlier, to 3 people in your life. And look, it can be more than 3 if you want to list off a few more than 3. But are there any people in your life that you want to sort of shout out now and say, look, thank you so much?
Basically, it's just my partner.
Yeah.
Like, she's amazing, puts up with my shit on the daily. I am probably one of the hardest people to live with in your life. Right?
We have got a little medal for her, to be fair.
Yeah, need it. Obviously, my kids are just like, as much as they do my head in sometimes, not all the time, they are golden. They're like, my reason for being here, do you know what I mean? My mum, my brother and my stepdad, like, the support from them has been absolutely phenomenal. And Ross.
I knew you were going to say that.
If obviously my partner didn't reach out and I didn't get started talking to Ross, what I was going to do might have gone further. Ross has saved my life. There's no two ways about it.
Don't say that to me.
You have saved my life, and I couldn't be more grateful.
Well,
appreciate it, mate.
Well, look, thank you so much, Jake, for sharing your story. We really appreciate you jumping on here and being so open, as we said before. Was there one more thing we wanted to...
Was one more thing. That's before you threw that curveball out there.
Something like that.
Oh, God.
So we launched an ambassadors program, which I think we mentioned on episode 1. So there's obviously 4 ambassadors, obviously within the MindsetBros leadership team. Obviously yourself, Baz, Pete, and as we mentioned, Rich and Charlie. It gives me and the rest of the team absolute immense pride in asking you whether you'd like to become an official ambassador.
No, I don't like you. Maybe you had no beds. No, it'd be a great honour to be an ambassador. Yeah,
Open it up, mate.
I don't
You
know what to say.
You don't need to say anything, mate. Apart from, we'd love to have you on board. I think, the change in your mindset, as I said, over the last few months, and you're out doing a walk and talk. You're consistent. You are spreading the right word within the community. You're talking to people. You're helping people. You've got everything. You've got everything that we would want from an ambassador, mate. So we'd absolutely love you to have you on board.
Hope this message finds you well. Yeah, well, it's definitely be delivered.
Welcome aboard, mate, and thank you
Also, thank you so much.
Cheers, bud.
Thank you.